Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chit Chat with Chakesha and Chauna.
Hi, I'm Chauna,
And I'm Chakesha.
and we are very excited about today's show. This city,
Yeah.
this state has been a doozy. Would you agree, Chakesha?
I definitely agree. Lots of activity this week
Yes.
at the Capitol and around Baton Rouge
Right.
and throughout the state, actually.
So we just want to bring to your attention a couple of things locally before we get into what went down at the Capitol. There are two important meetings that are being held here in Baton Rouge on Wednesday. Sid Edwards' proposal for law enforcement to get a 15% raise. It will be on the Metro Council agenda on Wednesday. I believe that date is the April 22nd. That is Wednesday. We definitely need to make sure that the community gets out. You are to go to the third floor at 222 St. Louis. That is, known as the City Parish Governmental Building. The support for not only the constable office, but also just equity, just making sure that there's fairness across the board. We know that the foundation of City Parish really is on the backs of DPW. But if you look at Mayor Edwards' proposal, his first promise is to the BRPD, in which I know even in my time on a council, we gave two large raises. Then this one leaves out the constable, and his proposal promises for EMS. And a lot of people hate us to go black and white, but I am black and white today, right? But if you notice, each one of the law enforcement or public safety officials at the it would be RPD with EMS and even the fire department are Anglo-Saxon males. And then we have Constable Terica Williams, first Black female woman whose whole department is being left out. Whereas even in the state, the constables are recognized right along with other law enforcement, whether state police, the sheriff's office, and of course, city police officers. So please go out. If you're not in, make sure you email Metro Council at brla.gov, asking all 12 of the council members to vote to either amend it to include, I personally would like to see that 15% or whatever that looks like lowered and spread across the entire city parish payroll. But if not, definitely don't approve it where it's leaving out the constable's office. Do you have any comments on that?
So, yeah, I agree. I just find it interesting with that whole situation with the Baton Rouge Police Department getting raises and not the constable's office. And that was, I remember when they were pushing that Thrive tax, they shared that it was needed in order for anybody to get raises.
Right.
And now they found
they keep finding money.
the funding to get raises for only a select group. So I just think that the same creative ways that they found the money to give the raises for the police to also get creative again to make sure that all of our law enforcement is taken care of.
Absolutely. And so the next one is BREC. My history BREC is long, and I think it's unfortunate, but there are no tricks in BREC, and BREC has basically been taken over by an institution, I would say, whether it's the superintendent or the different board members, to literally reconstruct everything about BREC, where BREC was one of our proud equitable systems. I would say BREC and the library is one of those places you saw, regardless as to what your zip code, they were going to get the services. But we're gone back in time where there is a differentiation on BREC. And this now leads to where many of the BREC parks are being dismissed. And I haven't done a deep dive into, what it is. I haven't looked at the data. But one thing I do know, that in the area where I live in, there's a Sharon Hills. And Sharon Hills is situated no different from Montesano or Beaver Creek. where
Mm-hmm.
they're in these subdivisions and there are quite a few amenities and they are easily accessible from the road. And the only reason why I would say that there's a low enrollment with the Sharon Hills Park is one thing is access. You know, you have to go through the subdivision. There's not much signage. It was called Hooper Road Park since its inception. So people were looking on Hooper Road, but it's actually within in the back of Sharon Hills subdivision. So, you know, I would say for those District 2 council members, state representatives, and senators that represent Sharon Hills, that I hope that each one of you are at the meeting on Thursday at the Break facility off Ardenwood. It is at 5 p.m. And, you know, I can't speak to all of it, but for sure, the investment into the Sharon's Hill Park, it should be taken off as a park closure. The amenities and the ability to be able to recruit revenues are great, but there has been zero investment. So, you know, those are the two of my local
Yeah.
interests. Yeah.
I definitely think that everyone needs to attend those meetings, especially if you live in those communities or your family members live in those communities, because decisions are being made that will affect you, and you get to be able to help shape those decisions when you are in the space where those decisions are being made.
All right. You ready for some state action?
I am.
All
I
right.
am.
Let's talk about it. Which one you want to do first?
So, what do you think?
Uh, let's do Calvin Duncan
Okay.
because he's made a national splash.
Oh yeah. That I very interesting story. Also very inspiring. That is Senate. Is it? Yeah, Senate Bill
Senate
256.
256.
Senate
Yeah.
Bill 256. It was authored by Jay Morris, and as you watch our prior episodes, we've spent a lot of time talking about the bills of Jay Morris and how they affect our communities. And here is another prime example with the Calvin Duncan situation. And what I was inspired by is how many people spoke up. Leaders from our communities, leaders across the party lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just more of like, look, guys, this is a humanity issue. Like, this is nothing is moral about this. How can y'all be okay? And even if you move forward with it, at least it's on the record that um, you've been told.
Yeah. So usually at the end of this show, we usually go and we do spotlights, and we were able to do spotlights in the past because they were few and far between. But you know, one of the things throughout the week when I've spoken with Chakesha and people throughout the community, there are many heroes in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say that the testimony of Edmund Jordan was right on. Activist Gary Chambers. That was a Republican lady, I can't think of her
Mm-hmm.
name, that did a crossover. Uh, she was excellent. If we could have this kind of unity based
Mm-hmm.
on humanity,
Mm-hmm.
not based on Republican, not based on Democrat, or and I'm not going to say those are important, but I can't imagine either party being okay with their democracy being changed at another, you know, and just discount it. I can't imagine any Republican that wins a race would like to face not being able to take office and their position being eliminated. I can't imagine a Democrat, of course, or someone no party. You're setting a huge precedent. I do believe that a lot of times we make these decisions based on personal reason and we don't think
Mm-hmm.
about the long-term implications, the precedent that you're setting, that they're going to be able to use this in eliminating you. Or you know,
Yeah.
you never know when the tides are going to change. It may be in your favor today,
Yeah.
but you know, in 2 years this is going to be a whole nother
Yeah.
game, and the seeds you sow grow in your own backyard.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just very disheartening. Just listening to the senator who brought the bill, it's more about, oh, this is just about a position. It's nothing personal, but we are spending more than $27,000 to even bring this bill
Yeah.
forward than the $27,000 that you claim to save if you cut the position. So, and then to just be able to give that excuse so casually and in disregard of a whole community speaking out. And I'm just a believer, as you say, what
Mhm.
goes around comes around. It's like a
Yeah.
boomerang. You throw it
Right.
out there, it's going to come right back to you. And I just think that this situation should be a wake up call to communities all over that something has to change. Now, we all know that, but what are we going to do to execute change? And that's the
Mhm.
conversation that we have to start seriously having. What is that going to look like? Who are we going to agree to be the leader of that change and align with so that we can actually get to the goal?
Mhm.
So we using this situation, everyone seems to align with that a change is needed. We need to get back to humanity. I mean, yes, the government needs to operate as efficient as possible, but we don't need to use the government
Weaponized.
to weaponize, to harm, to advance political motives
Mhm.
for whatever that may be. And we have an opportunity coming up in just next year. I mean, we don't have to wait 4 years anymore.
Mhm.
Next year, the people who are voting on these bills will be up for, some of them will be up for reelection, a lot of them will be termed out, but a lot of them still have time to be reelected.
Mhm.
So we urge you to take note of what's happening now and pay attention and think to yourself, if is this someone I want representing me and my district um, after next year, after 2027, or should we start thinking about who in our community represent or align with our values that we can start having conversations with and say, hey, can you think about um, qualifying for that role to lead our community to change? We seriously need to start having those conversations.
Absolutely. I did a little, most of us know
Mhm.
that Calvin Duncan was wrongfully convicted and spent 28 years in the state penitentiary. And based on the testimony, a lot of it a lot of what we're seeing today is playing out because
Mhm.
as a wrongfully convicted felon, Louisiana law allows for those victims to um, receive or to file a lawsuit, get $40,000 per year, but there's a max of $400,000. So based on what Calvin Duncan indicated, he did file a lawsuit, but was told by through other means by the Attorney General Liz
Well,
Murrow, go somewhere and hide and drop it. So he did, thinking that she would lay off him, right? And so, as we see now, that didn't that happened only a minute if what he says is true. But the most that he would have been able to get is $400,000. If he was able to get the 40,000 times 28 years, it would be $1.5 million. But I kind of think differently, Chakesha. He's
yeah,
going to be a millionaire.
yeah.
I would like, if any of
Mm.
y'all know Calvin Duncan, let him know that I would like to be his agent. Because this story, first of all, if y'all been looking on social media, news outlets I've never heard of are
Mhm.
covering this story. You
Mhm.
know, all
Yeah.
kinds of, like, they're showing up everywhere. This, he will be able to sell the rights for a book.
Hmm.
This will Hollywood is
Yeah.
gonna call. He will have speaking engagements. So y'all see, I'm selling myself because I need to be his agent. But literally, in all seriousness, he's
Mhm.
gonna have 100. Out. He's gonna get 1.5 million
Yeah.
more than once when this story, because this is the kind of story that America thrives off.
Hmm.
Injustice. At the end of the day, when it's on a big screen and when
Yeah.
it's on a book, it's going to make Louisiana look worse than it has ever looked. And I know a lot of you all may be younger than me, but there was another governor who has been, who I've been thinking about. And he was a governor of Alabama. I can't even think of his name. But this man was just like Jeff Landry, but based on segregation. And I mean,
Yeah.
no matter what he's done, the only thing people remember is him standing at the door blocking black students from entering, I think it was the University of Alabama.
Oh wow.
And that's how it's going to be with
Calvin
Jeff,
Duncan.
yeah, but with
Yeah.
Jeff Landry.
Mhm.
It's going to be with, like, they're not going to be thinking about Jay Mars. We're not going to hear about
Mhm.
Jay Mars. Jay Mars probably after 2 years. They will always think, first of all, Calvin Douglas is going to be
Yeah.
famous. But every time Jeff Landry name come up, it would not be about a data system. It
Mhm.
would not be about different businesses, oil and gas coming. It won't even be about name of Charlie Kirk after whatever it was. It's going to be about Jeff Landry signed an order to keep this man from getting this position. And that if that's what he's okay with his legacy being, because he's not going to be known for anything else. And so that's what they're thinking about. This man going to be rich and he's going to be famous, and you would never hear Jay Morris's name. He's going to be Rosa Parks, but do we know the name of the bus driver?
No, that's a good point.
We're
Yeah.
not going to hear. So they are selling their souls to the devil, and they're going to have children and grandchildren who will know about the book, who
Mhm.
will see the news articles, who will be able to see their portrayed
Mhm.
fathers and grandfathers on the big screen
Yeah.
doing this atrocity.
Wow. And being okay
That's
with it.
embarrassing.
And
Yeah,
being
and
okay
being
with
okay, but I
and
again,
and they're gonna have to
they gotta watch
watch
it,
him rise, watch
right?
Calvin Duncan rise to the top. I mean, I believe God is going to
Whatever they
give
do,
him double or
yeah.
triple. I believe he's going to be able to run for a higher office than
Hmm.
the clerk position that he was elected to do, and he's
And this
going
it's
to.
not over. So tell us.
Mhm.
I know if you want to just update people with what happened last week and where they are with this, because we're talking like it's over with. But no matter what, this is going to be a book and a movie. But
Well, as
where
far
is
as
the vote?
the legislature, so of course it passed the Senate committee and floor and went to
Mhm.
the House of Representatives earlier this week
Okay.
or this past week, and it passed out of the House committee even after powerful speeches. Many people came to speak and testify in that
25 to
committee
11.
meeting. I mean, so powerful, and they still voted to pass it to the full House floor. And the vote, what was the vote?
25-11 and three absent. Cloud was absent, McMath and McGuez.
So that is very telling. And 20 those 25 people may represent you in your district in Louisiana, and if that's not something you align with, again, we encourage you to start not just being upset in the moment, but reaching out to that representative, just understanding their thoughts, and also preparing for
Next
next
year.
year, because if you don't, we will see 4 more years of this same type of
Atrocity.
atrocity, behaviors, thought process, all of the above. So when you have the opportunity for change and it's so close by, we have to take that seriously. We can't wait till next year gets here to start thinking, okay, we want different. The writing is on the wall right now. I mean, this situation of how this vote panned out after all of those powerful speeches, and no one, well, whether they were moved or not, they chose their allegiance to whatever their allegiance was to, and they
Mm-hmm.
voted the way they believed they needed to vote for the best interest of themselves. So, again, I always say our state representatives are public servants. They should be voting for the best interest of the people, and not for them and their political careers. So take this information and make sure that you do with it, whether it's reflect, whether it's further research, not just take it as another article and say, hey, that's too bad, and go on with your life.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to create change for future generations, now is the time to do it by initiating change with the information that you see in front of you today.
Yes. All right. What's up
So,
next?
so uh, next bill, we are going to revisit Senate Bill 65. Now, I know some of you may be tired of me talking about Senate Bill
They
65,
shouldn't.
but guys, this is extremely important. Um, and the reason why I'm so consistent and persistent with making sure the information gets out there, because I'm not sure that a lot of people are aware of the significance of what could happen in the case Senate Bill 65 passes. And, or I should say, will happen, because normally when these bills pass, they're not doing it because they're bored. They already have it planned out where they're going to use it, who they're going to use it on, or where they're going to use it at. And the problem with that is after it successfully succeeds, then you see a repetition that multiplies that domino effect all over the state, which at the end of the day is going to hurt children. So I'm going to always speak up of anything that hurts kids and that's not child centered. And whenever you pass a bill that will create a system that will disrupt and dismantle stability in a bad way, everyone needs to be alarmed of that. And everybody needs to have a say in that. And what this bill does, it takes away the voice of the community, the local districts, and having a say of their schools that they have to govern. So, as you know, every parish have a school board that governs the traditional public schools. They raise taxes for that local community to build buildings, to just do the different initiatives in that parish. Now, Bessie, which is a statewide policy making board that sets policy for different educational policies throughout the state, this bill is empowering Bessie with another authority to change ownership and control over property. Now, this is the second or third year in a row where the bills are passed to give Bessie new powers that shift control from one place to another, when Bessie was initially created to be a policy making board, not used as a weapon to take things away from people. And that has seemed to be the consistent pattern of Bessie voting to take things away from people,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's from these local school districts, whether it's from local organizations, taking it and giving it to the groups of their choice. So, Senate Bill 65 does just that. It lowers the threshold. Right now, the law states that 50% of parents in a school must vote, and must vote in majority, in a simple majority of the staff must vote, in order for an outside group to convert a traditional public school to a charter school. This bill removes the 50% and says we're going to mail out these ballots to these parents, and we're going to give them a certain timeline to get them in, and whoever turns them in, the simple majority of the ballots we receive in the mail, that's going to determine if the application goes forward to Bessie.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that we're going to change the ballot process to secret ballot, so no one can see who sent one in or how many were sent in, other than what they tell us what was sent in. Guys, this is very dangerous. This is not the traditional way to apply for a charter school. Right now, if a group wants to apply for a charter school, it's already a process for that. They go to Bessie, they can go to the local school district, fill out an application, and if they get approved, they will have to figure out their own building. They will have to recruit their kids. So you basically building a school from scratch.
Right.
The other option is the school district authorizing a school to convert one of their own schools to a charter school. This is different. This is people who attend a school in the local school district. An outside group
Mm-hmm.
can say, I don't want to go find my own building and start from scratch. I want to take a school that's already
That's
operating
right.
and convert that into a charter school. So there's a process that they start, and then they start trying to get the votes of the parents. Now they remove that where the parents can't slow them down in converting a school of their choice to a charter school, whether the district wants that to happen or not. This removes the voice of the district. This removes the majority voice of the parent base who have children that attend that school, who will it affect the most. And it also impacts the staff because they may not have the same retirement benefits, they may not
Mm-hmm.
have the same salary or pay or any of those things.
Job protection.
Job protection, any of it. And if they can be pressured to vote a certain way, or if they want their job. I mean, when things like this happen, it really gets very political heavy. It can
Mm-hmm.
get very intimidating. And when people believe that their jobs or income is on the line, it pressures them to do things whether they want to do it or not.
Right.
And it's harder to fight this after the
After.
fact
It's almost
versus
impossible.
yeah versus fighting it now. You think that Louisiana is proud of having 100% charter in New Orleans? They're the first state in this country to have 100% charter. How would Jeff Landry feel to have be the first state to be 100% charter?
Yeah. And you think about New Orleans is the largest school
Mhm.
district. We're number two. So,
Yeah,
that's would be a big feat for the charter school system to take over Baton Rouge.
and not just Baton Rouge. What if every public school in the
Every
state,
public school.
and this will be the first state. What? Just imagine. I'm not saying this is what it's going to
Hmm.
happen, but it
But
can
Florida is almost
under
like
this
that.
bill. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, you're right. Florida is almost like that,
Hmm.
and where it's 100% school choice, where
Hmm.
your traditional public schools are four and in between. And if that's what the people want, then that's one thing. But what this bill does, it can possibly force that reality
Hmm.
without the voice of the people.
Right.
If
That's
that
the dangerous part.
right, if the direction is to go 100% charter, let the community vote for that. Don't decide it for them and leave them out of the vote. And then now they just happen to get in line because it's been done already.
So when listening to the Jay Morris's responses,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely went through some heavy scrutiny with the different both senators that spoke, and I just want to break down some numbers of where we were, what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and correct me if I'm wrong. So this did go to a vote, and on the vote there were 19 approvals, 19 yay, and 17 nay. So there were two votes short of at least a tie, and a tie would have made it disappear. Is that still?
It wouldn't have passed.
It would not have passed.
Yeah.
I think it was the Lord that, whereas the Senate, what's his
President
position?
Henry,
The president
yeah.
said not once but
Twice.
twice that it had failed, and he moved on.
Yeah.
So someone caught that, and the bill will actually be going back to the Senate floor for a vote, most likely tomorrow after 3. I don't know if they've given a time. But
Yeah.
usually when they meet, the Senate meets in the afternoon. It's going to be either early in the morning, but usually it's in the afternoon. I just also want to throw out that tomorrow is the halfway mark of this whole legislative session that began, I forgot what day, but it ends
Tomorrow
June
at
1st.
2:00.
Okay, tomorrow too. So that we're at the halfway mark, and but tomorrow at 2:00, the senators will once again vote. Now, the significant part of the this two vote difference is that we had 3 senators that were absent. And the first one, I think for me, being in Baton Rouge, my senator, Regina Barrow, was absent. I don't know why she was absent. I do think that it is our business because she's an elected official and we are paying, and she hasn't mentioned why she was absent. However, there was social media about her dancing with the stars or Big Buddy or whatever. But, this meeting is very important to
Yep.
EBR, and that is part of the area that she represents. So
Uh,
if
And
I
it's,
would,
and I will say, even with children, I mean, one of her biggest bills was with the child welfare and the passionate
yeah,
work to make sure that our children don't fall between the cracks. So, if out of all bills,
yeah,
um, a bill should never be missed when it comes to decisions around children,
right.
especially when that's one of the advocacy areas. Because if this happens, you will see a whole system. Um, it just won't look the same. It will
Right.
not look the
It
same
won't be.
today. And I'm telling you through experience, it will not. It is going to happen so fast, and it will be hard to undo anything from the back. You're like
Hmm.
fighting from behind the eight ball
And they have more
versus
money.
right now. Exactly.
They have more money.
So and when you look at those clips, if you've seen the clips, some of the clips I shared from the legislature on the floor debate for the Senate floor, you can see that I applaud those senators who
Oh
did
yeah.
challenge. I think Senator
The
Lambert,
three
Senator
from
Price,
Ascension. Yeah.
and Senator Katrina
Oh man.
Jackson.
They were awesome.
So they asked very good questions. They challenged the answers. Senator Caffey, he went around the way trying to not answer the question, and some of the answers just was not true. So that's why I wanted you guys to be informed on what this bill actually does, so it won't be just a brush off of, oh, the debt is going to be taken care of, or oh, the
Mm-mm.
parents going to do this. No, that this is how we got here. It is a manipulation, or to make it
Easier.
perceived
Hmm.
of something it is that it's not. What this will do is put every single local public school and district at risk, no matter if you have community pride or not, to be overtaken. It will, where they don't have to ever worry about any barriers again
Yeah.
that's currently in charter law. Even with the St. George situation, if I mean, we East Baton Rouge is so focused on this St.
Hmm.
George Amendment, which guys, I would
But it's
advise you
30
to
days
vote,
out. This is tomorrow.
but exactly, vote no on it. But this is tomorrow. If that if this pass, it's not going to matter whether that amendment pass or fail, because now they have an open playground
Hmm.
to pick out any school they want and get it with whether the local district like it or not, whether they like it or
Right.
not.
So to go back, because my focus is this two,
Hmm.
so two people missed was from East Baton Rouge, Senator Larry Selders and Senator Regina Bear. First of all, folks, I need you all to ring their phones, send their emails, whatever smoke screen, ask them to please show up for the meeting and please vote no. That's the other thing. The third person is Valerie Hodges, who's also in our backyard. Valerie Hodges missed the meeting. She represents Denham Springs, a lot of new schools there. Walker, new schools there. Ponchatoula, Watson, new schools there, and Pride.
Hmm.
Valerie Hobson is really putting at risk communities that traditionally really are community oriented. So imagine a charter school operator coming in and dismantling that ecosystem within those areas. If you live in Denham Springs, if you live in Walker, near Ponchatoula, Watson, or Pride, get on the phone, get on the email, whatever you have to do. Let Senator Valerie Hodges know that you're aware that she missed the last vote, but she has another opportunity on tomorrow at 2 p.m. or somewhere after. We
Hmm.
don't know where it's on the agenda, and
Hmm.
you need her to protect your community school, your local influences. All of these new schools that are in these areas, like anywhere else, they are bond. They are taken out through bonds. If a charter comes in and they do not necessarily assume the debt, you will assume you are the It's like a bank. If you sign a loan on a bank loan, all that financial institution want is the
Hmm.
money from you. They're not going to be saying, but the law changed. That is not their problem. They want their money. And
No.
that is going to be sent back to you as the taxpayers.
And let me
But
put
yet you'll have no
and
control.
let me put this out there just in case they come back with an amendment and say, well, the school district will be able to lease the property to the charter operator. Well, let me tell you the concern about that.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's converted into a charter school, it becomes a school of choice,
That's right.
which means the kids that were allocated to go there or designated to go there based on zip
No
code,
more.
they no longer have to go there.
Yeah, they
They
could
can choose
choose.
to go to either another school in the district or they
Mm-hmm.
can choose to stay at that charter school. So if this outside operator comes in and successfully able to convert that school
Mm-hmm.
and they can't successfully retain enough kids to stay there under their governance, then that means the money that they
It
get for
follows the
the
child.
fewer kids that they have to stay, it may not be enough to cover the debt. So
Mm-hmm.
even if the local school district lease the property to them and they're going to lease it for at least enough to cover the note,
That's
and if
it.
they don't have enough kids left at that site to cover the note, then you've just dismantled a whole school system for nothing. Or
Right.
the local school district will be the one who have to pay the difference for a school that they can't no longer control.
Right. And if you were to, you're saying the other thing I thought about, kind of like when when a charter operator, they could choose anything.
So it's two ways to have a charter. Either you're going to convert a
Hmm.
school that's there, or you're going to go apply for your own and start from scratch and
Right.
build up your own where you can put it anywhere you want. But if you're going through the pathway that we're talking about in Senate Bill 65
They're going
to
to take that school.
convert this school and turn it into a charter school,
Mm.
that means you're converting the building and everything else with it.
Ah, okay.
So if you cannot, or if that operator cannot afford that note, then whoever's responsible for the note is the one who's left having to pay for it. And here Bessie have disrupted and dismantled that and taken the school or did wherever they can afford or close it. And then now you have an empty school with a note. So is no system in place, no
Mm-mm.
mechanism in place to make sure that that doesn't happen. It's also um, increases the likelihood that it may happen because you're removing the parent vote.
Right.
So if you have 50% of the parents saying no, why would you go through all of this and no one attends the school? So you've converted it for nothing because now you're not going to be able to retain enough kids to be able to operate it. And now those kids have to go somewhere else. And now you
Mm-hmm.
overcrowd in other classes in other schools and other places.
And yeah, we're to not. I mean, there's so many different angles that makes this absolutely necessary. So one of the things that I was thinking about is, and it was part of the debate where someone mentioned about how the parents would be contacted, and
Mm-hmm.
the senator that wrote the bill, Jay Mark,
Kathy, Senator Kathy
Kathy,
wrote the bill.
indicated, oh, they're going to be sending out notes to the parents and by mail. Well, anyone that works in a public school system
Mm-hmm.
knows that the rate of change in children enrollment it's not as does not keep up with what's in the system. Students are very fluent now through, I know for sure within South Louisiana, even with floods,
Yeah.
the upheaval that happens with our different weather conditions.
Yeah.
Kids move all the time. As parents do better, divorce, those records are not automatically updated
In any school you go
at
to,
any school.
that is a challenge for every school district, maintaining updated records or sending the blue
Hmm.
cards home, trying to get them to come back. And then as soon as they get them back, they may move again. Some
Right.
families move 3 or 4 times a year.
That's right.
Some kids live between households
Homeless.
or are homeless or may
Yeah.
live with the father for a week, the mom for a week. So who are you sending this ballot to?
Right.
So it's almost like that's the intention
Right.
almost where the parents won't get in the way, where you can check off, we mailed the ballot, so we did our part. and whoever sends it back, even if 5 people send it back, if 3
Mm-hmm.
vote yes, 2 vote no, they're all under secret ballot according to this new change, then it can happen, and it's nothing no one can do to check that. There's no
Mm-hmm.
checks and balances or be able to stop it. And now you have a whole conversion
Mm-hmm.
from an outside entity, not necessarily parents, a
Right.
private operator that the parents had no say in or no knowledge about that this was ever taking place.
And that's part of the design. One of the other issues, a lot what we are finding, and a lot of these are the exact communities that are growing with lots of subdivisions.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an influx of housing, and then this is dismantled, you leave yourself to a lot of for sale signs going up because people are moving in these communities because of
The schools.
the schools that they have in Denham Springs, Walker,
That's a
Watson,
good point.
whatever. So you see DSLD and DH Harden Homes, whole subdivisions coming up. Well, what you're going to do is kind of what's going on in Zachary, where those homes that are being built they're not going to homeowners, they're going to renters. And so you have this very serious issue where you're not only destabilizing your school system, but your housing market.
You're stabilizing your own local economy.
Your whole local economy.
Yeah.
So we
Destabilizing.
we cannot emphasize, folks.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of those issues that is not about black and white.
It's not.
It's not about Republican or Democrat. You are shooting yourselves in the wrong foot, and that is an issue.
Yeah.
I know I keep saying this is the last thing, but because it's about outreach, and if there's a charter association, then they come with millions, folks.
Yes.
And it's all about that. Let me tell you how it has happened when it comes to communities with landfills or environmental issues. I remember particularly there was a landfill coming, or landfill increase or whatever, in the community of Alson. And then the meeting was set for everybody to speak before LDQ, before they make a decision. That public hearing is part of the process, right? All they had to say is we had the meeting. They could have had on earplugs, it didn't matter.
Yes.
You fill out a card, you had the meeting. So to entice people to come, on one side, you had this major company that enlisted like a charter. They bought a bus. They went and picked people up in the community, house to house, took them to a park and served TJ ribs. Wow. Bought them T-shirts, a pep rally. We walk in there, just figured good citizens, drove their cars, brought their families. We had chips, sandwich, and juice. Thinking, get people to come right after work. That is how this will work. It's survival of the fittest. So understand, once this bill goes, baby, you cannot.
And it's important also for these school board members to understand this.
None of them are coming.
And I also encourage you to call your school board members and ask them to help you fight this for the sake of your schools and your community. The school board members, you guys are going to be the ones fighting for your life and fighting for your school, which you're going to probably not be successful on based on how this bill is set up, if it passes in its current form.
Afterwards.
Yeah. So all school board members, your superintendents, only one, when this bill was in the first committee, the Senate committee, only one superintendent in the whole state showed up to speak against this bill.
And there are how many? 64 parishes?
Yes.
So at least?
Yeah, and I think that was I think it was St. Charles District, I'm not sure, but it was the president of the School Board Association, the Louisiana School Board Association. No, he wasn't the president, he was the general counsel.
Oh, wow.
So he came to speak out against it, as well as one superintendent. Other than that, no other superintendent showed up, no other school board members showed up. I don't know if it was because you wasn't aware or whatnot, but that's part of the role of school board members. You have to keep up with any legislation that's related to schools for this specific purpose. So it's going to affect you the most. So if you are a school board member, you should be
superintendent and a general counsel.
And a superintendent or a general counsel for a local school board.
You should all be there.
you should be speaking up, calling, rallying your constituents to ask your senators to vote no on Senate Bill 65 because it is going to impact the school districts the most. Your schools are at risk of being taken by a private interest group without having to go through the traditional charter process. And if it's a group that's been politically arranged, where they've been invited down or where they're politically connected, and it's going to get approved by Bessie.
Right.
The ones that may not get approved by Bessie, or maybe the just local groups that don't understand how the politics work, but for the most part, for the schools that they have already identified that they want, or that they will benefit from if they give, will be affected to take schools away from your district, to take facilities away from your district, to overcrowd your classrooms in your other schools when you start losing these school buildings one by one if this goes through. So now is the time to speak up before it passes, not after it passes. So now that you're aware of Senate Bill 65, research, Senate, talk to your general counsel with it, but you really don't have much time. It goes back for reconsideration.
That's less than 24 hours.
In less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
from when we filmed this
video.
video.
I live in EBR. I work for EBR school system. So what I've been noticing is that, when there is a discussion from someone within the East Baton Rouge Parish school system, particularly school board members, they keep talking about 5 schools and $100 million with St. George, which is May 16th. And what we're saying is it won't matter if tomorrow Bill 65 passed.
St. George wouldn't even matter.
You're putting 83 schools in jeopardy.
Yes.
Not 5.
Yes, that's true.
83 schools that they will be able to pick off one by one and making deals with private charter. So I would admonish school board members right now and all those, start talking about killing SB 65, because if that passes, I don't even want to hear nothing about Amendment 2, because you are not the person that I want to hear, because you did not make sure that SB 65 didn't pass. So I'm personally going to be looking to see who from East Baton Rouge Parish school system, well, there are no more hearings. Right? Will they be able to have hearings before the vote tomorrow?
It's 2:00 tomorrow. The session is at 2:00 tomorrow for this vote. But you can sound the alarm to if you have a text messaging system to text your constituents, I will suggest that you use that to text them, to encourage the constituents to call the senators and voice their opinions and voice their concerns about Senate Bill 65, asking them to oppose it, asking them to vote no on Senate Bill 65. Remember, if this would have gone through last week, there were 19 senators that said yes, 17 that said no, that was voting in present, which means it could have been gone. Yeah, 3 was missing.
So we need Barrow, Hodges, and Selders to
be present.
Please be present.
And not only be present, to be present and vote no.
And speak. I mean,
and speak, because it's going to hurt those
people speaking.
And they spoke so well.
Yeah.
They advocated for their communities. And someone from Ascension Parish reached out to me, one of the constituents, and said, well, both of my representatives in Ascension Parish spoke, so what do I do now? I'm like, well, you should be proud to be a resident of Ascension Parish, to have your representatives showing up like that. But what you can do is reach out to your family and friends who don't live in your community, so that they can contact their representatives and ask them to vote no and oppose these bills. Oppose Senate Bill 65, because it is not in the best interest of children. It's not in the best interest of economic stability and sustainability in local communities throughout this state and how we build. And I just think that is very, the intent behind it is not transparent. But regardless if it is or not, this black and white clear what can happen if something like this passes.
Yeah. I think the only thing I wanted, I don't know if we have time, if we'll do the missions and the goals, but of course we want to go back to say our mission And our goal for Chit Chat with Chakesha and Chauna is to educate and empower. I truly believe that the power is in the people. When we send people, our legislators, our elected officials, they work for us. And
Yeah.
I really would like everybody to just know what a difference you're making. There is one other bill. I didn't get the information regarding the district attorney and the public defender. I believe they did really, really well in passing committee. I think there's a flyer that will be coming out. I'll make sure I share that on my social media. But there definitely needs to be equitable transference of funds with the public defender office and the district attorney's office. There's something going on with DCFS. It's a
Yeah.
lot, folks.
Yeah, it's so much we want to cover, which we will be back with all of those
Yeah.
bills to cover. But because of the urgency of Senate Bill 65 tomorrow, we wanted to make sure we spent a lot of time talking about the urgency of that. But we also want to talk about the carbon capture
Oh,
situation
yeah.
and how that affects you. How does it affect your property? And thank goodness that the main one did not go through, but it's going to come back. These
Yeah.
things, they don't stop trying. So it's important for you to be aware. So when these things come back, you are better positioned to advocate or oppose what you don't want to happen in your community.
Right. And there's a lot of confusion regarding the carbon caption
The carbon capture sequestration.
sequestration,
Yeah.
where I think a lot of the controversy is whether or not the homeowner maintains their property, whether or not they maintain their all rights, or, well, not all rights. What are they
Or
called?
if you want that type of
Going through
your
underground.
ground, yeah,
Yeah.
because there are concerns about leaks. What is it? What if
Right.
it
What would that
leaks?
look?
So yeah, and
So there are a lot of questions about these things. I haven't. I mean, again, these bills are coming fast and furious. So we want you to know we are not the experts, even though once we come before you, we consider our experts on the topics that we are bringing to you. But these are community issues, and just like we're advocating, we want you to advocate.
Yeah.
From your position, do not minimize your influence.
Yes.
As it not mattering, because it does matter. People do read your posts, and when you explain what's going on or even share, I'm telling you, it's making a difference. And even if you
Yes.
don't see it now, we are sowing seeds. There's going to be an opportunity to water, but we are going to have, by next year, we want a huge increase in the change of mindset and people taking back their communities and their power.
That is the ultimate goal. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. Next year, we want to see a whole transformation in our community, in our community leaders, in our community people. And what that means, we want to empower everyone to not just involve and engage, but know what to ask for, know what to want, know what's available to you.
Ask.
And yeah, and know.
Just ask. So a lot of people just not asking for anything.
Yeah. Or if they know what to ask for, or what could they ask for, or what should they ask for. So those are the things we want to eventually get to. So when these sessions happen, you are going in with full knowledge and participation in what you would like to see happen in your community. So
thank you for watching.
So that is all we have for this week. And yes, thank you again for watching. And we can't wait to see you on our next episode with Chit Chat with Chakesha and Chauna. Bye.
Please share, please like.